Hi everyone, welcome to the new video. I hope you are doing good. Today is a very cold day. I'm walking on the street right now. So in this video I want to show you my neighborhood where I live. You can find many different types of neighborhoods in Russia where people live. And this one where I live right now, it's not actually one of the most typical ones, but anyway I would like to share with you and give you an idea how it looks like. So those buildings behind me, they are not so old. They were built about like 10 years ago or a little bit more, so let's say they are fresh. So this neighborhood has a lot of different buildings. I mean, they have the same color but different shapes. So let's take a walk. Look at this, how sunny. Take a walk and I will show you a little bit more of the place where I live. I've been living here about 10 years, and I should say that this neighborhood is beautiful, but not the best one, of course, in my city. I mean, I am not talking about the price. I'm talking about the quality of the apartments, of the rooms, for example, the materials which I use to build apartments here. So they're not the best. It's something like average quality of materials. I don't know, I think I was looking at the phone, it was around minus 16 degrees more or less, which is of course not so cold. This is a really good temperature for us. I would say it's comfortable temperature. But as I said before, when it's windy, it's getting really cold. I don't like it, especially my face and my nose. My cheeks, they are getting so red. So you can see that these buildings, as I said, they are pretty the same. They're the same. They have the same colors, the same design, and they're quite fresh. This is another type, I guess, of the buildings, but they also have the same design. So in Russia, buildings are built like in some groups, let's say, and some buildings, they can have the same design, and finally they are called like a districts, I would say, or something like that. It's really difficult to record the video with the gloves, but it's okay. This is the mall right there. What I noticed is that like not a lot of people on the streets, but what I like so much is the snow, of course. I think we will have winter for some more months, until March or April. As you know that the winter in Russia lasts for more than 3 months, not just from December to February, but I would say sometimes from October to March or April. It depends on the region of Russia. Actually, for example, in the northern parts of Russia, winter lasts much more. Actually, it's almost never ends, because the temperature there, like normally it's, I mean, lower, much lower than, for example, in my city. So it's a bit more difficult to live there, I would say. This is another residency, I mean residential complex, I would say, which is a bit more, which is better, I guess, than mine, where I live. But anyway, they are almost the same. I can say that they are different from other cities in Russia. You can travel to any and you will be able to find almost the same buildings, so not much difference. Sometimes I don't understand really how some people, they don't use gloves when they are on the streets. For me it's really necessary. As you can see, I almost always wear them. Some more shops here. I would say I like this district. But maybe you have had some kind of feeling when you live in the same place for a long time. Sometimes you feel some kind of maybe boring and you would like to change your place. Of course, I think it's important to love the place where you live, your homeland. But I suppose that some people, and me included by the way, they need some changes. For example, it's really hard for me to live in the same place for a long time. Not because it's bad or ugly or something, but just because it's sometimes a bit boring. There is a kindergarten there. A lot of cars. We have a problem with parking here because every year people buy more and more cars. Some people say we have economical problems and there's inflation because of the war with Ukraine and something like that, but in reality people buy even more cars, even more property, even more things. So of course there's a question how they have money for that. But it's another topic, of course. But anyway, sometimes it's really hard to find the space, the parking lot to leave your car. Today is very beautiful with this sunset, which we will have very soon, by the way. So as you can see that this is very typical neighborhood you can find in Russia. It's not expensive, it's not actually cheap, it's not an average, I would say. And you can find many YouTube videos on YouTube with such landscapes when people travel to Russia, and I think it's pretty normal, something pretty normal. I like my country so much. I think Russia is one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and of course many people travel there. I mean, it's worthy, of course, it makes sense, because here you can find a lot of different places you can visit, from Moscow, which is the most expensive city in Russia, traveling to different parts on the north, on the east, on the west, so that's really cool. So as you can see, it's -12, it's just -12, and the sunset is about like 4:30. Okay, not bad, but I don't know why it feels much colder. It doesn't feel like -12, it feels like -30. I think my skin is very sensitive for the cold, and sometimes it's getting red or dry, I don't know why, but let's try to cross the street very fast on the red line, of course, which is not good, but very fast we can do it. Okay, here we are. So I should say that for all the years I've been living here in this city, I really love it. I think it's one of the most beautiful cities in Russia. It's not that expensive to live, to find property here, to buy a house or apartment, but maybe like some of you, I would prefer to live in the big city, just because in big city you can find everything. In the capital of any country, for example, you can find many different interesting things, historical sites. If you need to go somewhere, you can do it without any problems, take a flight or go by train, wherever. All the businesses you can find just in the capital of the country. So I would say that I would love so much to live in Moscow, because in Moscow and St. Petersburg, by the way, also the second largest city in Russia, these cities, yes, although they are expensive to live, but at the same time they are the best, I think, options. If you have money, of course, you can live there without any problems and always have something to do. These are the buildings which are made of the concrete panels, and of course I'm not sure if this is one of the best materials to use to build such buildings, but as you understand, this is the very affordable type of the property you can buy in any city. They don't have a high price, so the majority of the people can afford them. For example, those buildings, they already are made out of the bricks, so they are more expensive, and of course their quality is also higher. But anyway, I would say that they look quite sad. I don't know why. I don't like so much these colors, and also the combination of these colors are a bit strange for me. But anyway, sometimes I think it's not really important how they look like, but the most important to have them. And I think during the last years, because of the war with Ukraine, not a lot of people can really afford to buy a property, just because the price of the property can go up all the time, every month. But the salaries, the level of the salaries of the majority of the people who are just like not entrepreneurs or businessmen, they're just like normal specialists, they don't have that much income to live even with such conditions. Wow, so beautiful. Actually, it's a pity I don't have the camera with myself to make some good pictures here. So now let's wait to cross the street. We have that much snow, so it's really dangerous here to walk, because you can fall down very easily. Let's turn here. By the way, in Russia there is one very famous type of business you can find on the streets, like this one for example, where they cook some kind of shawarma or something like that, which I like so much. You can find many, and it's not just fast food actually, they also sell here the vegetables and fruits and so on, but some of them actually are closed, as you can see. So in such conditions, I mean, with economical aspect, for some businesses it's really hard to exist. They don't have enough money to maintain the business. I'm already so freezing. Here we are. By the way, I wanted to tell you one thing, that here this neighborhood, this block of the buildings, they have like closed territory, so the cars, the people who don't live here, they can't go inside except emergency services. I mean, for example, ambulance or police, something like that. I think like everywhere in such buildings, on the first floor you can find many businesses, like for example there's some logistics company. For example, this one, Ozon, is one of the biggest marketplaces in Russia. The drugstore, some other companies, which is also pretty typical. Wow, I don't know, I think it's not really typical in Russia to make such a big advertisements on the buildings. You can see, that's crazy. But some development companies, they do that, which I think is not really suitable. I don't know if it's legal to do that. I think it is, but it looks a bit strange because it covers all the side or all the wall, or I mean complete completely the wall of the building, so I don't know, for me it doesn't look so beautiful. I'm so lucky because in the winter, in this time, I always can see such a beautiful sunsets from my balcony, and I like it so much because the sun goes down precisely from this side. So you can see now my face is shining also. I think it would be better if they could put here more trees, for example, because it doesn't also look so beautiful with just some trees. It looks empty. In many countries in the world, the government, the authorities of the country, they try to put more green zones in different parts of the city, but here unfortunately it's not like that. As you can see, this is a huge space here, so they could put more trees and make some kind of that, like a little garden, a boulevard or something like that, but unfortunately nobody does it. So it's really sad because it would look more beautiful in my opinion. Okay, here we are, the bus station there, the bus stop, sorry. A lot of cars. I think it's also the time when people come back from the work, and now it's gonna be really difficult on the streets, traffic jams, etc. So anyway, unfortunately I don't have a car right now. I don't drive. I mean, I like to drive, but I don't have a personal car, so I can't enjoy going somewhere and enjoy the trip, for example, because when you have a car, of course, it's easier to enjoy life because you can go everywhere. So now we are gradually coming back. This is the shop where you can buy a lot of different types of the beer or other types of alcoholic beverages, which actually also pretty normal for Russia. I should say that in every neighborhood you can find just a huge amount of different bars or the shops where you can buy alcohol. And you know, it's actually one of the biggest problems in Russia because people have really easy access to alcohol. They can buy whatever they want and how much they want, so it's a problem. Even kids sometimes, I don't know how, but they are capable to buy alcohol in the shops. I think it's not good thing, but anyway, this is what we have, because alcohol always has been a legal thing in Russia, and unfortunately it's not easy to change because it's a huge business in this country. By the way, we just came to my house. This is the building where I live. So I hope you enjoyed this short tour in my neighborhood. As I said before many times, actually it's nothing special, and you can find such style of the buildings in many different neighborhoods, in many different cities. But here at least they have some colors, because you know, the old types of the buildings which were built, for example, in the time of Khrushchev and the time of Brezhnev, the leaders of Soviet Union, many years before, they looked really sad. And in the future I will show you, by the way, it will be really big and good comparison analysis between these styles. But for now I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed. And as always, see you very soon in the new video. Take care and goodbye.